Rich Eisen here, having a conversation about the unique nature, to say the least, about the 2020 NFL Draft that's going to start going down next Thursday night. And joining me right now to talk about this is the Commissioner of the National Football League, Roger Goodell. How are you and your family, Commissioner? Everybody good?
We're doing great, Rich. We're blessed and just worrying about everybody in our country and trying to do the best we can to support them.
Well, in terms of that, let's talk about the draft and what the NFL has planned for it. And in terms of obviously giving everybody a little bit of a break, a respite, maybe a place to find a sense of normalcy. Why hold the draft? Let's start with that. There's been a lot of question about why the NFL is continuing to move forward with the draft. I give you the floor on that subject, Commissioner.
Well, for a variety of reasons. One is, as you know, it's important to have normalcy. It's important to continue on schedule as best as you can. We've obviously modified our schedule several times. Our off-season training is different. The draft itself will be different because it's no longer a live event. We're doing it within regulations from state to state, local regulations and federal regulations. And so we're doing this in a way that I think demonstrates that you can continue to do what we need to do in this country and do it safely from home. And so that's why, you know, all of our personnel will be safe, will be within those regulations. So we can do this in a safe fashion. And you know how important this is. I mean, our clubs want to get their rosters finalized. They want to be moving forward. And when we get done with this, they'll go right into a virtual off season that we've negotiated with our Players Association. So we want to keep on schedule as best we can, doing it safely for all our participants, including the draft eligible players who will be joining in virtually. And all of that's going to be something I think will hopefully inspire our country, but also, as you point out, it's giving us a platform to thank the people who are on the front line, and the people that have been risking their health and their families. And we want to make sure that we're recognizing them, the healthcare workers and the first responders in our military, and make sure we have a great opportunity here to provide relief funds for so many people that are in need today.
Yeah, and there's 6 charities that are specifically going to be involved with the Draft AThon, as we're calling it, or Draft AThon Live, and
right.
Getting to that in just a moment. But in terms of, again, having the draft and any initial pushback that there may have been on that from either member clubs or others that are concerned about how the draft is going to be done, have you, to your knowledge or comfort, heard from any of the clubs on this front going into the final week of preparations from the draft about still going ahead with this, Commissioner?
Yeah, I think all our clubs are, focused on executing on the draft. We've worked with the technology. I think people are comfortable with the technology, which is important. We have a lot of great partners who are helping us with that. But, I think we're doing all we need to do to make sure we do this with a great deal of sensitivity, but also make sure that operationally it comes off well for the clubs. And our ownership was fully behind this. Every owner suggested that we continue to stay on schedule and do the draft. And frankly, there were really many alternatives, Rich. If we were delaying this, when we were delaying it till, what are the solutions? We needed to move forward and we needed to do it differently. And I think that's the key thing. We are doing this draft differently, and that really leads to some anxiety, and I understand that. But I think our clubs are adapting really well.
Well, in terms of doing it differently, certainly the broadcast it can I guess be proof of that, visual proof of that, with ESPN and NFL Network combining together for a single broadcast on multiple platforms. And then, of course, there is what we're going to get into a little bit more heavily right now, and that we're announcing right now, Draft AThon Live, which is going to be a digital and social tour de force of covering this draft that I am thrilled to be hosting. And I'm wondering why you wanted something like that to go down, Commissioner.
because we know what's going on in our country. We're part of those communities. We want to give back, and we're coming out even before we announced the Draft-a-thon with nearly $50 million as initial funds that are there, and we hope to obviously be able to do much better than that over the next few weeks, and be able to do something that is going to provide really needed resources for people on the front line and that have been impacted by this. And that's what we do, Rich. As you know, we have a great platform. This is a great platform. We think we can bring a lot of attention and a lot of thanks and gratitude to the people who are on the front lines, but also much needed resources.
And in terms of the resources of the NFL, virtually every social platform that the NFL has is going to get this Draft-a-thon. I don't know, do you want me to throw this out there, or do you want to tell us what this is all about? I mean, I just want to go through what this Draft-a-thon live really is, so people understand what's coming.
Well, I think what it's going to do is really give people a chance to participate and to give back in their own way, and whatever amount that they can, to be able to contribute to relief efforts from some great organizations, 6 national organizations that will be getting the funds, 100% of those funds. And that's real important for us, and to support the work that they're doing. And this is an opportunity for everyone to be able to enjoy an NFL event, but also be able to make sure that it's going to a really great cause, and everyone to participate in a unique way.
Yeah, and just to walk through that right now, NFL.com/relief is where people can go to right now and take a look at all the details involving Draft-a-thon, and certainly involving 6 national nonprofits and their respective relief efforts to fight COVID-19. The American Red Cross being one, the CDC foundations, All of Us Combat Coronavirus campaign, Feeding America's COVID-19 Response Fund, Meals on Wheels COVID-19 Response Fund, as we know that this virus has hit the population that is the most vulnerable.
Absolutely.
And elderly is hit it very hard. Salvation Army and United Way, which has been associated with the NFL for decades, United Way's COVID-19 Community Response and Recovery Fund. And throughout this entire Draft-a-thon, I know, just speaking for me, it's going to be an honor to be hosting this, not only because it's what we do with the NFL Media Group for an important event like this, and we do want to cover the draft, but we also want to raise as much money as possible and do that all in a way that is entertaining and informative. And I personally can't wait for it, to be very honest with you.
Well, we can't either, Rich, and we have a great host and a great co-host with Dion, and I know you're going to have a lot of special hosts, and I think it's going to be really entertaining, as well as an opportunity for people to give back and to support the things that are going on in each of our communities and on a national basis. These organizations are best in class. They're doing incredible work, and we all need to support them. And my family and I are proud to be in, and I know others are going to be participating in this in a way that it's going to make us all really feel good about the end of this draft, that not only did our teams all get better, did we all restore a little hope in our teams, but also looking forward and looking towards the future, and making sure that we all realize that we still have a bright future. And this is a chance for all of us to help ensure that.
Well, in the few minutes that we have left, I do want to hit on the future itself. I know that you've been involved in some conversations with the president, vice president, and other commissioners of other sports leagues. What is the stance of the NFL right now, as we're sitting here, about a playing season and a schedule that might be coming in May, Commissioner?
Well, we are planning on putting our schedule out, our game schedule, by May 9th. We are planning, as you can tell by the draft and by the start of the league year, and by the trying to adjust to the environment we're operating in, that we're planning and working towards staying on schedule. We will be announcing our schedule by then, and we intend to do everything possible to stay focused on that and make sure that we can be prepared to execute on that, because that's where we think we'll be.
Okay, and obviously the virus will set maybe a timeline that is not known right now, obviously. Is the NFL considering more truncated season, or there are other, I mean, have you given directives to those who are putting the schedule together on that front?
Listen, Rich, one of the things we always do is we consider public safety in everything we do. It's important for our fans, our participants, our partners to all be safe. So we're obviously gonna have that in our forefront as we're making all our plans. And none of us know what the conditions will be, a week from now, much less 3 months from now or 6 months from now. So we'll be prepared for all alternatives. That's what we do, and we'll make sure that we're ready to adjust. We're working with all the authorities. You mentioned the president's got all of the sports together. I think people want to see sports back. We want to do it safely, and we want to do it safely for everybody. And so we're all working together to make sure we find ways to do that, supporting one another, but making sure that we do our part to get the economy going and to get people back in a place where we have some sense of normalcy.
And is there some date by which you may have out there discussing amongst the league by which you need to make a decision?
No, Rich, that's why we're going to be prepared, right? We're prepared, and we're moving on the basis of making sure we're ready for the season. And, we'll have to adjust if something, in some way interferes with that, and it's in the best interest of public safety.
Okay. And in terms of the draft, a lot has been made about from where you will be announcing. Is there a commissioner man cave that we're going to be let into
There actually is a commissioner man cave, and you will get a front row seat.
Okay.
It's where I do watch games on Sundays in the fall when I'm home and not traveling,
Okay.
or in the office. But it's, again, it's part of the stay-at-home effort. Stay home, stay strong, and we want to make sure that we're doing this the right way. No one is going to be at the facilities. As you know, we've closed all NFL facilities across the league. We obviously aren't doing this the same way we did it with the Las Vegas fans, but we'll be back hopefully in Las Vegas shortly. But we're going to do this in a way I think that's going to be entertaining and fun, and give people insight to how teams are building their rosters.
Okay, and will your family be there for the first pick? Add some sort of energy to the draft hall or anything like that?
No, as you know, we're restricted in the number of people who can be in the room. So it's functional people only, as they say. So, and don't tell my family I said they weren't functional.
I said, don't want to get you in trouble. All right, don't want to get you in trouble.
I didn't say essential. I just said functional.
We heard that. I heard that. So if you obviously it's going to be a long night. If you need any sort of coffee or any caffeine at the end of the night, I have something for you. I'm going to send there. I've got a Rich Eisen Show mug for you.
You got it. Here's the problem. It'll be hot chocolate because I'm not a coffee drinker, but that's okay.
No kidding. I think that might be the biggest news of all right here.
And by the way, I won't need energy on draft night. It's one of my favorite nights. There's going to be a lot of interaction, of course, virtual with the draft eligible players. I'm actually having a conference call, several conference calls with all of the draft eligible players that would have been in attendance in Las Vegas. And we'll have a lot of interaction with them. And I think all of us are looking forward to that. It'll be different, but it'll be fun.
I bet it will be for sure. Well, this is where I'll be, right here.
Is that the Rich Eisen man cave?
It's not, I don't have a man cave, but it is just my setup. I've got books that I haven't read in a very long time behind me. If you've noticed, everybody's got books behind them in their home office setting to make it look like they're well read. But that is me at the greatest institution of higher learning at the University of Michigan, going out on the field. I got that going on here.
I knew you were going to get that plug in.
Well, I mean, that makes two plugs now. That makes two plugs. Though there is an I in Rich and Eisen. At any rate, I'm thrilled to be. I'll be here for the Draft AThon Thursday night, Friday night on all the social media partners, all the digital platforms. The teams will be involved. NFL.com, everybody pulling together, and we'll try and raise as much money as possible.
You're going to do a great job, and I look forward to being with you when I can in between picks. But I think you're going to be spectacular, and we're looking forward to it, and know that we're going to do some great work that night. So thank you.
I'll be sure to give you the password to the room so you can get in. You get that. Thank you.
Good to see you, Rich.
Good
luck.
Yeah. That's the commissioner of the National Football League right here.